Meet Jen Boulden, green business pioneer, healthy living expert, media talent, and Smarty member. A successful entrepreneur and media personality, Jen is a true pioneer in the green business world. She co-founded Ideal Bite in 2005 to cater to the untapped light green consumer market and grew the company to over 500,000 subscribers before selling the venture to Walt Disney in 2008 for a reported $20 million. Yeah, Jen. Jen has been featured in many print publications from Vanity Fair, Montana Living, Women's Health, and Domino Magazine. She has also appeared on shows such as Good Morning America, The Today Show, Martha Stewart, and The View, and has authored articles for publications ranging from Fast Company to The Huffington Post. Jen embraces a joie de vivre philosophy and now consults with other big and small companies looking for an expert strategist who knows how to start up, build, and cash out like a pro.
This is actually a really, really cool opportunity for me because I usually speak on green. If you know Ideal Bite, we are kind of the green daily candy, and so we sent out daily email living tips, small things that you can do to go green. We made them entertaining, we made them educational, we had our shtick, we sold online advertising and made our money. And we built the list to over 500,000 subscribers, which is more than most magazines claim as subscribers. So it got to be a kind of a movement in what we called light green living, which is if you drive your SUV to Whole Foods, that's okay. You can come still play in our camp. And, and that really resonated. I mean, we're talking 2005. This is pre, Al Gore and Inconvenient Truth. It's pre-Cameron Diaz showing up to the Oscars in her Prius. And so we really had to believe in our dream and say, hey, if we're like this, there must be other people out there like this. And that was kind of the genesis of Ideal Bite. But the reason that I'm excited to talk today is because I realize now, after the fact, that I can be of service to women entrepreneurs, and it just was like, oh yeah, like maybe I guess I am an inspiration if they need advice or tips or whatever. It's really refreshing actually not to have to talk about why you need to change your light bulb. It's like this is great and this is amazing. So thank you so much for having me, Amy, and thanks for being here. So I want to ask a quick question. I'm going to kind of start big on what I'm thinking about next, and then I'm going to give you tips on how we made our business a success and kind of tell the stories throughout. But first, let's just kind of like go, okay, where are we? Where are we heading? This is a painting done by John Gaffin in this is like art history class, in 1784, and it was around the time of Manifest Destiny. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that concept, probably. It's basically that go west, young man. We've got new territory, to claim. And this is a religious experience in our country right now. We have this angel taking the technology from the light east side to the dark west side. And it was one of those moments in time. I truly believe that we're in one of those moments in time right now. Do you guys feel the unrest, like the anxiety, that kind of like lower level of where's this world going? Not too sure. I'm passionate about it. I do too. I mean, and how can you not, right? We have, pick your calamity these days, but BP spilling 2.5 million gallons of oil every single day into our oceans. We're heading into the 70th day. We have, of course, the Great Recession. We have, all the political polarization, like nothing can get done. The good news, though, is that with all of this change and with all of this unrest, it is going to open up opportunity. And it's already starting to happen. It's more than my hunch. It's basically that women are going to be the key to getting us out of our economic problems. Because we lead with our heart, we can think with our head, we can start the medium-sized, value-based businesses that we need in this economic structure that's actually not working so well, right? So, and not to say that men haven't played a part. Here's a great quote by Albert Einstein. Any intelligent fool can make things bigger, more complex, and more violent. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. And so that's what I think that we need to do. And this is my courage. I'm drinking someone else's water. Out of bottled water, which is like one of my things that I'm never caught doing. But it's a brave new world. And hearkening back to that picture, you know, think about what it would look like here, 2010. What do you see as your vision for the future? You know, I see windmills. I see oops, hey, I see a slideshow going crazy. I see, you know, solar panels that are shaped like leaves. I see communal space with women gardening and holding board meetings. I see a stock market ticker that is valuing true value creation, triple bottom line. It's called in some arenas where it is assessing value for environmental, social, and financial value creation. That's sustainability. That's what's going to get us to where we need to go. So this is our chance. And we're taking it, but we need to have some courage. And Libby actually gave all these stats about what women are doing in business, and it's true. Just to kind of summarize what you were saying, this year, women are now the majority of the US workplace. First time in US history. Like, there is change afoot. And for every 2 males getting a college education, 3 women are. This isn't just a hunch. This isn't just what I'm feeling and what you're feeling. It's happening. So I'm excited to be able to pass on whatever lessons learned, whatever, oh my God moments, I can't believe I did that, all my gaffes and lessons from the trenches to help empower all of your amazing businesses. My first insight is bring your passion. And this picture says it all to me, because when people say, how did you do it? How did you have all that energy to get through all the hard times? And I basically say passion was our bank account, because we were so passionate about the idea, we felt like our head was on fire and we were running for a well. And that's the best way I can describe it. Do you guys feel that way about your business? Just kind of shake your heads. Yeah, like we're all good? Because you're here. Good, because that's where you have to be. There's no way to get through the trials and the tribulations of entrepreneurship without just loving your business. So we're good. Going to go to the next one. This photo resonated with me. It's called being in your bubble. You know those days where you're like, it's peaceful, just me and my computer, I'm doing all this email, I'm doing all this work, I might be checking Facebook, I should probably be going out and talking to that new customer or that new alliance, but God, I'd have to get out of my pajamas, I don't know. So, so this is how I feel sometimes, and it's just incredibly important to actually get out of your bubble. And congratulations, you've done that tonight. You're here. You're wanting to connect. You're not sitting at home watching Seinfeld reruns, which is what I'd probably be doing. The other point about this, though, is it's not just beholden to you. People can help you. And having that inner circle, the people that are going to ping you and be like, hello, come on, aren't you, starting a business or have this business to run, like get out there and test it, throw up your test balloon. Me personally, I was really, really lucky. I had a partner, Heather Stevenson, and she would bust me out of my bubble, like big time. We didn't work in the same place. She was in New York, I was in Montana, I was in LA, she was in San Francisco. We were never in the same place, but we always stayed really connected and helped each other bust up our own bubbles. She couldn't reach me on IM, she was calling, and she's like, just answer the phone because we have a change, it was annoying at first, and I'm like, oh, thank God she busted my bubble. So if you don't have a partner, find someone that will kind of bust up your bubble. The other thing I'll say about partners, just really quickly since I brought up Heather, is that I feel really lucky, and I'll give you 2 tips on partners or your alliances. Try before you buy. So I had a consulting company prior to starting Ideal Bite, and it was a green business consulting company, and so not only do we get to test the validity of Ideal Bite business and say, would there be a place, would there be a market for it? But I also got to work with Heather. She was a consultant in my network, and we worked fabulously together. And I knew that we were equally yoked. I've had business partners that we weren't equally yoked, and it was very difficult, very difficult. So we were equally yoked, we were complementary, and I owe her the world of gratitude. So make sure that, wait, why do I keep on doing that? So that you've got your mentality to get out there. Not only from like a just get out there and connect, but also, I think as Libby also said, you don't necessarily have a company unless someone's willing to buy it, to pay for it. Not buy it like my bits, but like, will they buy your services? Do they want what you have? And it doesn't mean that you have to come up with product on day one, but instead of, say, writing a business plan for 45 days and making it perfect, why not find your inner circle, get them to do an online survey and take a pulse. Are you into this? What do you think about this? It's so much more valid than staying in the bubble and writing the business plan. For example, do you guys know about SurveyMonkey? It's just like an online tool that you can easily and inexpensively poll people. And so we had a whole bunch of taglines, and Heather and I couldn't agree, and fine. Why don't we let our audience decide? Aren't they the most important ones? So we put our taglines up, and they voted for mine. Yes, I'm just kidding. But they did. So yeah, it's bust up your bubble. Now, this third insight, up your brand. I'm not going to speak as much as I was on this just because Libby did such a fantastic job covering a lot of things about brand. But I'll jump right into two myths that I feel like entrepreneurs believe. One is you're too small to have a kick-ass brand, right? Like, I'm only on day 2, I'm just sending out a few emails, or I don't have the capacity, it's more important for me to be working on operations, whatever. I call bullshit, and I really, truly believe that you're never too small to have a good brand. Now, you might be sitting here thinking, well, that's great, but how do you have a great brand without a whole lot of money? And that's the other part of my myth busting here, is that it doesn't actually cost a lot of money. And my apologies to all of you who might be in really large graphic design firms, like large ones, creative agencies, et cetera. They're more than willing to tell you that you need $10,000 for your logo, $35,000 for your website, and why don't we just, throw in the $5,000 for your style guide. Not true. Not true. I designed the Ideal Bite logo with an intern, sat over her shoulder and pixel pushed. I'm like, that. And we did the Ideal Bite website with a designer that we found off of Craigslist. I recently just I just built a new website for myself, just for my own personal little JB brand, with WordPress. And is Carly here? Carly? So Carly is giving a webinar next week about one of the things I'm talking about, which is WordPress. And it's just so easy now to build websites, to make them look professional. You have access to the back end. You don't have to know HTML anymore. And so it's just like, don't skimp. It doesn't cost a whole lot, but I want you to know your brand like you know the back of your hand. Ask me right now what my font is, what my RGB, what my colors, and I know that better than whatever moles I have on the back of my hand. So it's just really important. You only get one chance to make this first impression. And as you can see with my little poor cow, not mine, but a brand is forever, right? So, do you guys have those tattoos from spring break where you're like, if I were only thinking, just don't make the, dolphin on the, well, I won't say maybe, mistake of spring break 1989, woohoo. All right, so brands of the kind of old world brands were all slick, they were all stylish, they were like bells and whistles, and we've all been over communicated to. We've all been over-jazzed, overhyped. Now, the new world brand is about authenticity, and it's about having guts. Authenticity, of course, means bring your personality to it, bring your values to it, be who you are, because the world's full of a whole bunch of clutter and what I call melbatos, just boring, trying to cater to the masses, trying to make a quick buck. But who are you? And you're very, very unique, so bring your personality to your brand and do it in an authentic way. And that is also one of those things that women can do particularly well. The second thing about that, about having guts and your brand, is you're standing for something. You know, you're saying, I believe in this, I stand for it, and it's not always fun because a lot of people will say, you know, they'll try to like kind of throw their little poison darts. If we listened to everybody that told us that Ideal Bite was a bad idea, no way would we have started it. No way. We had the first potential funder tell us that our idea was, this is just to give you a point of reference, 2005, that our idea was very small, very 90s, because it was internet and email, and like, oh, we're on the killer apps now. Like, who even remembers what those are? And the green was always going to be a niche that was reserved over here on the left for the hippies. And so if we listened to these venture capitalists, to one of my business school professors, to pick your number, I mean, even my parents, they were like, okay, so you went and got this green MBA, which I did. They're like, you know, I hope you get a scholarship because no one's going to hire you to help pay off these loans. And they weren't that bad, but kind of. And then you go, okay, now you're pouring all of your savings, all of your life savings into this business. My mom actually did, to her credit, call me Oscars 2007. Inconvenient Truth had just won. Cameron Diaz had just shown up. It was green, green, green everywhere. And she calls and she's like, how did you know? Like, I'm really, really sorry, but how did you know in 2001 to get a green MBA? And I'm really, really proud of you. And so that's a whole different story, how I knew. Of course, a little luck and a little insight. But so yeah, get gutsy. And basically, these volume knobs mean turn up the volume on your own inner Smarty. That's for you, Amy. And you know, it's that voice that we all have. It's our intuitive wisdom. It's the one that if we listen to, we usually are right. And sometimes, though, life is crazy and chaotic, and you've got all these pinging messages happening. And when that happens, check in with your inner circle, right? We all have these alliances, our partners, our friends, our advisors, the people that we recruit on SurveyMonkey, whatever. Just check in with them if you can't figure it out. But your inner wisdom is usually going to be your guiding source. And you guys know it. And the more that I practice it, the better I get. And I get to a point where I probably annoy my friends because I'm like, I'm psychic, you know, like. Like wondering if I know you, because I'm like, are you one of my friends that I annoyed? All right, so the fifth point is, and now you know the sixth. The fifth point is leverage your ass off, okay? This is a play on words of leverage your assets. And by assets, I mean the things that you were given and the things that you have acquired. Anything, anything. Is it your sick Rolodex? Is it your ability to speak on camera? Is it your big bank account? You know, is it your, gosh, I mean, anything can become your asset. I mean, I made Cricket, my dog, who's really cute, one of our assets by putting her as a mascot, and like all the dog lovers flocked to her videos. You know, and like Heather called me up one day and she's like, I have really bad news. I'm like, please, no, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore right now. And she's like, no, it's really bad. I'm like, what? She's like, I'm looking at the back end website, and on the blog we had our photo albums, so Heather, Jen, you know, all of our teammates. And she's like, Cricket's blog photo album gets more clicks than yours and mine combined. She's really cute though. So leverage everything that you possibly can. And by the way, a lot of you sent in some questions in advance of things that you wanted to learn and talk about. I tried to work as much as that I could into this presentation. I'll be hanging around for the entire evening, so if you want to find me after if I don't answer your questions. But one of the questions someone asked was, how did we have the PR success that we did early on, and without, assumingly, a big fatty retained PR agency? And this is like a perfect example of leverage your ass off. We were just working things that we barely even had, right? So it was a situation where people would send us products to review, and you're like, okay, great, my 17th bottle of paraben-free shampoo. You know, maybe I'll try a little bit, and I'm like, whoa, I have all these products sitting around. And so I made them into gift baskets, and then I sent them out to editors. And they loved the fact that it came from a founder, not from a fancy PR agency. And long story short is that did actually land us on Martha Stewart and We Greened a Home for Martha Stewart. And so, you know, then press begets more press. So of course we were talking about it all over with our subscribers and anywhere we could broadcast it. And of course then we went back to potential investors and we're like, are you in, are you out? You know, like meanwhile we're so desperate. And so, you just, you know, and then of course we use these kind of video montages, and I think you were also talking about like the highlight reel. And that's something that we did ad nauseum, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So use what you got and then some, for sure. So this is my, I've just got 2 more points left. This is let your vision fly. And it's a picture of a dandelion because a dandelion is actually a weed, and you can blow on these seeds, and these weeds will come, and they can be organic. We don't have to water them, and no fertilizer. And isn't this great? Because it's just taking off. It's just a really, really good idea. And before you know it, you're going to have this field of wildflowers. So an example of this is the fact that, and you guys had the foundation course, and you know did the elevator, the pitch, right? Same. But it was moving parts for us because people, they ask you how you are and they want updates. So I had a new reel every week. And it was something that I would practice with cleaning staff, whoever would listen, because I just wanted to practice it not sounding like schmarmy about our bragging. But we had to, you have to. And so it went something like this. Like this is, let's see, yeah, circa 2005 maybe. But hey Jen, how's it going? Oh, good, it's going really well, Dawn, actually. You wouldn't believe what happened last week. We put out a tip on humane veal, and we had all these haters, like all these vegan haters, like saying you should die, oh, isn't that ironic, you know, whatever. And we had all these people unsubscribe, but what happened was the blogosphere picked us up. You know what the blogosphere is? You know, like, blogosphere picked us up, and they then posted us on 20 other sites, and we ended up getting back those subscribers, you know, in tenfold. And so that press then begot more press, and another editor now heard of us and called me for an interview. So I'm going to actually be talking to Brand Week next week. That's pretty cool, and it's funny because we didn't have anything to tell them. You know, Brand Week is all into like, you know, who are you selling to? Heather actually just closed a deal with General Mills Cascadian Farms. I couldn't believe that she did it. I actually told her, oh my gosh, why are you going and wasting our time here? Because we only have 35,000 subscribers. And she's like, Jen, just trust me, let me go. So like I was actually in my little bubble saying, oh, I'm too embarrassed to go in front of General Mills. And she went and she did it and she sold it as a test. She's like, look, I know our brand's gonna go do fine, you know, we'll just take this one little deal from you, and it was only a $5,000 deal. But my God, did we work it? It was on every venture capital, you know, roadshow slide. It was, you know, in our reel, et cetera, et cetera. And I would have been in my bubble about that. And so just kind of hearkening back to what we were talking about with bubbles. So that was my reel for that week. And then, of course, with the video montage and everything that you can do with video, about every 2 months, I paid some guy I found on Craigslist to update, you know, our video montage for, you know, $50, and it just kept adding in press clips and customer testimonials. And then I became what I hope they referred to me in a dear way as a brand Nazi. And I'd make sure that everybody in our business, our company, was actually, oh no, you didn't read that. Was actually, you know, in the email signature and using it in all of our sales presentations, et cetera. And oh, speaking of sales presentations, a special person is here today, Kay Hill, who was one of our first, I think, 5th hire. Where are you, Kay? She's here. Yay! So Kay was one of our 5th hires, and Kay, and this kind of goes back to like the brand and the fact that, you need to just know what's on brand. When Heather and I met Kay, we were like, oh, she's fabulous. We really want her representing our brand because she did business development. We're like, but we can't afford her. I mean, you know, she's fabulous, but we figured out how to make it work, and it was definitely worth it. And that just kind of speaks to the fact that your brand is every touch point, right? And so go up and touch Kay later, because she's fabulous. But yeah, so about letting your vision fly, you guys just, you know, press begets more press in that example, and anybody that will listen, tell your good story too, because it really does start to create a drumbeat. This drumbeat needs to just keep happening all the time for your brand. It has to always be building. And when it's not building, make it up. Honest to God, you know, like figure out something that's great and make that your new reel. The drumbeat's important. Okay, so yay, press, sizzle, reels, all of that. I just want to go back to, I think, my #1 lesson from the trenches, which is this is hard as shit. This is really, really hard, and I'm sure you guys know. I'm sure you guys know how hard it is. Well, since you've seen that slide, this is from my barn. Right? So when you're like, woe is me, I've been working 12 hours a day, and woe is me, I have no money, deal with it, because that's how it's gonna be, right? Like, I'm not gonna give you any false illusions that this isn't hard and that there won't be tons of ups and downs. They're exciting though, especially when you've got that passion. The other thing about putting on your big girl panties and dealing with it is that it kind of gives you this fortitude that you need. That you need to just say, you know, I'm a big girl because I'm in this new world economy. I am a cornerstone piece to this solution. I'm not backing down, you know? And it just, I don't know, it's always resonated with me, this slide. All right, when you're working so much, the thing is, there's a point of diminishing returns. You can spend too many hours in your chair, 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day. You gotta work smart and you gotta take your breaks. I'm not trying to tell you to find balance. You're not gonna find balance as an entrepreneur, like let's forget about it. But so we went 2 years of not taking any breaks, of being crazy, maniacal workers. Our health suffered, our lives suffered, I lost relationships, friends, you know, the list goes on. And I think that our business suffered because the point of diminishing returns, you know, energy in, no energy out. Why? So then Heather and I had this like kind of meeting of the minds, and we said, all right, we're gonna have these sacrosanct meetings, and we had a shared calendar. And anytime there was a meeting with Lou, my horror, she couldn't touch it. And anytime there was a meeting with God, Heather doing yoga, I couldn't touch it. And I don't think in the entire 3 years of that being our operating principle that we ever touched each other's very kind of sacred place. And you know, really, truly thank God that we had these outlets, because it made us a better person. It made us, of course, our business stronger, right? So that's just one of those things that it's self-destructive if you work yourself too hard and if you're not inspired and you're not thinking straight. So claim whatever it is you got to claim. Don't feel badly about it, because it really is only going to be like a 20th of your time, because the rest is eat, sleep, drink, think your business. This is my final slide. I love this quote by Thomas Edison. Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. And I mean, I'll share something with you guys. A lot of people, I mean, yes, I am lucky, right? I mean, everybody's like, oh, yeah. But it was a lot of work. And I remember I had this boyfriend during the process, and he just kind of saw things starting to happen. You know, oh, we lined up some investors. Oh, we got featured in Vanity Fair. And he's like, whatever, you're just lucky. I was like, don't you ever. Because, you know, luck usually happens when there's a whole lot of tenacity and passion and work behind it. So you can work smart. And going back to the title, passionately inspired, strategically wired. Okay, that basically means head and heart. Just bring them together. That's what we can do best. That's what we can bring to the world. I'm incredibly, incredibly excited to be here speaking to you right now because I feel it. I feel the change. I feel the unrest, but I know that positive change is coming because women are entering the workforce, and we're bringing our sense of morals, or we're bringing our sense of sustainability. I think we think more about kids and what does our tomorrow look like. We're bringing our sense of, you know, actually it's not worth my time to create a business that doesn't bring true value to the world. I want to be proud of this. You know, we've got this kind of like moral responsibility about our species. Again, not to diss the males. They, again, came up with another great quote. But, so yeah, I'm incredibly excited and I'm honored, and I will be here, and I'm also on my website, jenboulden.com. There's a blog, and so if you have any questions, I will put up my presentation there, and I'm happy to connect with you tonight or later online, and we can continue the dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jen.